All right, so if you watched the Austrian Grand Prix yesterday, obviously the highlight of the race was Max Verstappen and Lando Norris colliding into each other, and then George Russell winning. Congratulations to George Russell, by the way. I'm not going to litigate the crash because the thing about Formula One is that people have no objectivity whatsoever. If you're a Max fan, then it was Lando's fault. If you're a Lando fan, it was Max's fault. If you're a Lewis fan, it was Max's fault. If you're a George Russell fan, it was Max's fault. If you're a Valtteri Bottas fan, it was not. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, right? What I want to talk about is how much of a whiny little bitch Lando Norris was after the race. So he gave two quotes specifically that I want to touch on. The first one is, if he admits to being a bit stupid and running into me and being reckless, then I have a small amount of respect. It's a tough one to take, fighting for the win. I'm gutted for the team. Basically, he's saying, like, if Max apologizes to me, I'm going to respect him again. Because Lando Norris and Max Verstappen have had this friendship. Lando Norris has had friendships with everybody. Like, here's
I agree.
a video that's
Yeah,
just 8
you
minutes
agree,
of them
so-
being friends.
This
that's
will be a
called,
nice headline.
Max.
Hello, Max.
How's it going?
Qualifying didn't go well. My game quit, so I'm starting
And
last.
I'm not going to play this whole video. You can watch it for yourself. The point is that Lando is friends with everyone on the grid, and Lando thought that Max was actually his friend. But Max doesn't have friends with anybody. Like, Max's dad used to leave him at a gas station so he can be a better race car driver. Like, Lando should realize that Max was playing him the entire time. Like, these two aren't friends. Max doesn't care about his respect whatsoever, right? And by the way, like, this, like the reason why Lando should realize this is because this is exactly what he did to Daniel Ricciardo. Like, Lando tried. Like Lando played the same game with Daniel Ricciardo where he said, like, oh, I'm friends with Daniel. And then the second that Daniel started to slip, Lando stabbed him in the back and said, this is the quote back from 2022. People will hate me for saying it, but it's difficult because I never know if I might encounter that in the future with this car. But, he basically said that, he doesn't care at all. He doesn't pity Daniel Ricciardo for the bad things that are happening to him. And by the way, like, the one driver on the grid that Max might actually be close to is Daniel Ricciardo because he's just loved within that F1 team. So the fact that Lando stabbed Daniel Ricciardo in the back as hard as he did means that there's no way in hell that Max and Lando were ever going to be friends, right? But also, I just want to highlight the fact that, like, Lando saying that, like, if Max apologizes to him, Max Max will get some respect back. Like, that's just hilarious on its face. Like, why would Max Verstappen care about Lando's respect? Again, Max Verstappen is a guy who used to be left at a gas station as a kid when he came in second, right? Lando Norris, he's second this year. By the way, he just edged out Charles Leclerc, right? But, like, let's look at, like, Lando Norris's history. So this is 2023. Lando Norris was in 6th, 2022. Lando Norris was in 7th, 2021. Lando Norris was in 6th, 2020. Lando Norris was in 9th. Like, why do you think Max Verstappen cares about your respect, Lando Norris? You just won your first race this year at the age of 24. Max Verstappen won his first race 6 years ago at the age of 18. Like, what are we talking about here? Anyway, so this is the final quote that I want to show. I apologize. Like, this is on a French channel, so, like, there's going to be, like, French dubbing over it, but you can hear the English statement.
C'est bon, c'était de la belle
Final one
course au
was
final.
a bit stupid. Like, he didn't need to squeeze.
La
him like he did, he
dernière
didn't need
était un
to try
peu
and do it like he
stupide.
did.
Il n'avait pas besoin de me serrer comme il l'a fait. Il n'avait pas besoin de piloter comme ça.
He has a 70-point lead in the
C'était
championship. He doesn't care. He doesn't.
assez simple pour lui à gérer. Il est loin.
This like is a highlight of why Max doesn't care about Lando's respect and why Lando Norris is a loser, right? Like, he's like, oh, this guy, like, has a huge lead in the championship, he should just let me win. Like, that's not how Max Verstappen didn't obey team orders last year to let Sergio Perez get back into first so he could be the first Mexican driver to ever be leading in the championship. Like, Max Verstappen does not give anything away to anybody. The fact that Lando Norris thinks that Max Verstappen is going to do that for him just because they're friends, and here's the critical thing that I think is important about this dynamic that I really want to highlight is that Lando Norris doesn't have any sort of misbeliefs here. Like, Lando Norris doesn't actually believe that Max Verstappen is going to give him the lead. What Lando Norris is mad about is that he wasn't able to play Max the same way that he played Daniel Ricciardo, the same way that he's trying to play Oscar Piastri. Like, athletes have been doing this in professional sports since the dawn of time. They put their arm around somebody, make them their friends, and then stab them in the back. Lando Norris has been trying to do this to Max Verstappen, and Max Verstappen is saying no. And that's why he's angry. He's not angry because of, he was moving the braking zone. He's angry because he's been trying to manipulate Max, and he hasn't been able to. And by the way, this is the perfect response from Max. He said, I could also stay at home. I'm here to win, not to finish second. When you're fighting for the win, why can't you fight it in a hard way? Again, Lando Norris was cheering on Max when Max was fighting against Lewis. Did he not watch those races? Does he not know how Max fights? He does. He was just hoping that by pretending to be Max's friend and by being you should care about my respect, he would get Max to stop fighting. And obviously he wouldn't, because Max never stops fighting. Anyway, I want to end this by playing this hilarious interview that Max had. Here, I'll show it to you right here.
Pen that if you apologise.
It's what it is. It's just never nice, of course, to come together.
He said to me just now in the pen that if you apologise and admit what you were doing, he would.
Just look at that face. Look at that face that Max Verstappen is making when she says apologize. His visceral reaction is wanting to throw up. There's no way this man apologizes. This man just has no respect whatsoever for Lando Norris. Lando Norris can hate him until the day he dies. If Max Verstappen gets one more point in the Drivers' Championship because of it, he is happy. And by the way, I made videos as a Red Bull fan earlier this year saying, we don't really need Max. I take all of that back. I apologize to Max. We need you. I'll say this. I'm really happy that this happened, because the problem with Red Bull for the past couple years is that our success has been tearing the team apart. As Bane said in the Dark Knight Rises, victory has defeated you. Victory has been defeating us a little bit, where we've started tearing each other apart. But now that we actually have a fight again, we see Max Verstappen again, we are going to be so happy to have the gang back together, the gang fighting together. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that Max is very happy to have Christian Horner back in his corner, because if anybody fights dirty, if anybody defends his driver, if anyone doesn't take shit from anybody, it's Christian Horner. And so, yeah, man, it's going to be a great championship, and I'm excited for Lando Norris to come in fifth again, like the fucking loser that he is. Stop being such a whiny little bitch.